Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's head-to-head comparison, we're taking a look at the latest generation for the Hyundai Elantra N and the Honda Civic Type R. Both of these cars are here at Hendrick Lexus Northlake, so make sure you check out their website. That link is down in the description below. And with both of these performance-oriented sedans, they have about a $15,000 price discrepancy, with the Hyundai being costing much less. So let's go over each of these cars, what they have to offer, and how they compare in the performance sedan world. So let's start off with what powers the Hyundai Elantra. This has a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo paired to an 8-speed dual clutch or a 6-speed manual. It pumps out 286 horsepower, 288 pound-feet of torque. Over on the Honda, this has a 2-liter turbo 4 paired only to a 6-speed manual transmission, and it pumps out 315 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. Now, both of these are front-wheel drive. We have about a 200-pound curb weight difference, with the Elantra weighing in at 3,300 pounds and 3,100 pounds for the Type R. 0 to 60 with that 8-speed dual clutch is around 4.8 seconds. It's just over 5 seconds with that manual transmission. We have a top speed of 155, 169, and as far as fuel economy goes, they are very, very similar. 22 in the city for both, then we have 31 and 28 out on the highway. So with those performance specs out of the way, let's talk about the exterior styling for both of these. You will notice that the Type R is a little bit more sporty in the fact that this lower spoiler is finished off in carbon fiber. There's cutouts right in the middle of that, smaller grille up top with the Type R badge, massive fog lights, there's even inlets on both sides, and then we have a slim design for those headlights. Over on the Hyundai, the grille is much, much larger. Red stripe is still in that lower section there, but just some matte black finish instead of the carbon. We have the headlights as well, and not as much cooling. There are some inlets on both sides, but we have completely different front ends, even a hood scoop on the Type R, and then some more lines coming down the Hyundai. So very, very different, but they share some similar characteristics, especially both being blue with all of the red. Now, as we work our way to the side, the Type R gets Brembo brakes. There's the red pinstripe around the wheels. Over on the Hyundai, we do get some upgraded end brakes. I'm not sure exactly if they're Brembos or not. But then we have a two-tone design for the wheel there. There's also some functional pieces just behind the tire on the Civic. There's nothing on the side of the Hyundai. We have turn signals and some body colored on the mirror there. We have gloss black and the turn signal for the Hyundai. Now, as far as the side profile design goes, the Hyundai is a little bit more stylish in the fact that we have all these contoured lines, especially in the driver door, very crisp going all the way to the back. But you could also argue too, with the Civic being more of a hatchback design versus the sedan, we have a few more lines, especially with the fender arches, both front and rear, and then even the side rocker panel or skid plate with the carbon fiber there just gives it a little bit more of a touch. So I would say the Civic Type R is definitely more sporty, especially with that massive wing. The Elantra is more laid back in a sense, kind of a sleeper if you want to call it that. But let's work our way to the back now, where the Elantra does get a trunk-mounted spoiler. It's finished off in gloss black. There's the light bar that runs right through the middle. You even get remote start for the Elantra. And of course, well, just being with the automatic, I doubt the manual would offer that. As we work our way back to the Civic Type R, check out that massive fixed wing. It is definitely large, finished off in gloss black. There's no connector bar running through the middle, but this also gets some more vents on both sides, and then we have 3 exhaust tips right in the middle to make it a little bit more sporty. So I will say again, the Civic Type R is definitely more of that sporty-ish design over this Elantra. But as we work our way to the interior now, the Elantra has a very nice classic design, Bose audio. We have some suede, and then the end gets these sport bucket seats. They are manual adjusting, and I have a full review of this exact car, so I won't go through everything in quite as much detail. Check out that separate video if you want to see me going through everything. So just to highlight some key features, we do have a few different driving modes for this. We even get N mode, which does change the exhaust note. You have the NGS, which is the N grin shift. You can use that if you're passing, things like that. We have a digital gauge cluster, so you can go through a lot. We have the adaptive cruise, lane keeping assist. You have the steering assist as well. and then you have a good bit of info to go through within this gauge cluster. So you have the N mode, so you can monitor all of that. You have navigation, you can pair your phone. It's a pretty easy system to go through with all these physical buttons, all the climate adjustments, wireless charging, and then you get a little bit of space in the center armrest there, as well as the glove box too, and the sunroof. So it's honestly a pretty nice interior. These seats are incredibly comfortable. So it gives you a lot for that type of vehicle and how comfortable it is. As we jump over to the Civic Type R, same materials for the door panel. Now both of these cars do have plastic within them, but we even get some carbon fiber trim accents, more of that suede. And then check out these seats, a lot more bold and sporty being red than just being black. Now, these are also much higher around my thighs, so it's definitely more of an aggressive bolstered seat. And then we have that 6-speed manual transmission only. There is no automatic. So if you're not a 3 pedals kind of person, that kind of eliminates this vehicle here. But as far as the gauge cluster goes, it's not digital like over on the Hyundai, so a little bit more old school. We get the steering assist here along with cruise control, distance pacing, which is awesome to see for a manual transmission vehicle. We have all of your Bluetooth controls. There's some safety technology features that are available, but we have a much smaller screen. So you still have navigation, you have audio. You can go through a few things here. It looks like there are some blank pages that you might be able to add. So it is nice, but it's a lot more old school feeling for a more expensive price to get that kind of display. But you still get the manual, and it's very nice on the inside. Everything else is straightforward and easy to use. It doesn't look like there's wireless charging, but you can hook your phone up. Lots of storage space down below. We have the brake hold for the manual here. We have 2 different drive modes there. And then it looks like you have a little bit of storage in the middle there with cup holders and everything. No sunroof though for this. So if that's something that you would like, you cannot get it with the Type R. But aside from the infotainment system, I think it's a really nice interior. And if we work our way to the back now, we do have some videos on the Type R if you want to see all that in greater detail. So again, check that out. We actually have a different door panel, so it doesn't have that same Alcantara up front for the rear, a little bit different of a material. And the Type R looks to be a 4-seater. We don't have a 5th seat right in the middle. So there's cup holders, a little bit of storage there. We have the carbon fiber backed front seats, which is neat to see. And being the hatchback, you have access to the trunk space if you need to. There's also the cover that you can pull across. But as far as amenity goes, there's no climate vents or anything. And you have a much different type of material for the seats. So it's interesting to see that not brought all the way through. And over on the Elantra, you get that extra seat. You also get the same materials as the front door panels for the rear with the two-tone with the leather and the Alcantara here. So if you need a 5-seater, that basically eliminates the Type R. But again, nothing in the back, no climate vents or anything. There's no armrest. We have a sedan versus the hatchback, so you can't gain access into the back. But at 5'10", it really seems like both of these have a similar amount of space. They're virtually identical in their sizing, so that would be expected. But as we work our way to the back now, in the Elantra, you can actually fold down the back seats. However, look at what is in your way. So if you want to put items back here, you're either going over, under, or to the sides. You have a little bit of storage on both sides. There is a hook here if you need to place some items, and then the bag there, or the net, if you want to put some items in there. So for your only vehicle, definitely very practical. However, on the Type R, it is going to be more practical since we have the hatchback design. You can tell right off the bat, there's a lot more space. This is that cargo net that I mentioned earlier that you can cross over. You can fold the back seats down too. So theoretically, you could fit a bicycle in here versus not being able to put anything over in the Hyundai. And so there's a look at the exterior for the Hyundai Elantra N and the Honda Civic Type R. Now let's get both of these out on the road and we'll see how they compare. So we'll start off in the Hyundai Elantra, and we'll accelerate up to the speed limit. Shifts are so smooth with that dual clutch. Now you can also get the 6-speed manual, so you can compete with the Type R in the fact that Hyundai does offer a manual transmission, which I think is very cool to see. But these shifts are super quick. You have a lot that you can go through in N mode here to really set this car up the way that you would want to. You have your suspension, your electronic limited slip, along with traction control, your exhaust sound. So you can hear it right now, and it definitely sounds really good, but then you can tone it back and go into eco mode, and now you virtually have no exhaust system. So it's a really cool blend for this style of vehicle, but it's incredibly fun to drive, super low center of gravity, steering is very nimble. It's also comfortable too, even in the suspension being in this top setting right now, or Sport Plus. You can feel the bumps, of course, but it's not back braking, which makes it more enjoyable to drive. And it's also super comfortable and quiet as well. So it would make for a great daily driver. Now, as far as some of the materials go, like I mentioned earlier, there is some plastic. There's plastic on this grab handle here. It's kind of what you'd expect for a mid $30,000 vehicle, but it drives very nice. You have plenty of space. You can hear those pops too. And we don't really have any torque steer or anything for it being front wheel drive with that much power. So you don't really have to worry about that. This does offer launch control though, which is awesome to see. We're not testing that today, but it drives very nice. It's very comfortable and quiet. There's not really a whole lot of road noise or wind noise or anything, but you can hear a lot of those pops in that exhaust, which is awesome to hear. Let's go ahead though, jump into the Honda. And in the Type R now, here we go. You can definitely feel that it feels a lot quicker even with that manual transmission. It's super nice to go through. Feels like it has a short throw shifter, and obviously I can't compare the manual Elantra to the manual Civic, but the clutch pedal is super lightweight. I love how notchy feeling this shifter is. It's definitely a nice shifter for this car, but right off the bat you can tell that it's kind of old school feeling compared to the Hyundai. There's no driving modes. You really just have the suspension for R Plus or Plus R. You have Sport and Comfort. That's basically all you get for the suspension, but there's no driving modes like in the Hyundai. So you basically just hop in this car and that's it. You do get a lot more power though, which is nice, but seats are equally as comfortable. I know I don't have a lot of seat time in them right now, but they're more aggressive, but they feel about the same, to be honest. You get a few more creature comforts that you don't get in the Hyundai, but the Hyundai has a lot more technology too, including launch control and things like that. But feels about the same getting up to speed as it does in the Hyundai. You just have a little bit more old school of a vehicle. You get a hatchback though, which you can actually see out the back there. There's additional glass, so you don't have any blind spots back there. There's pros and cons to both, of course, but this drives very nice. I like the visibility out of it. I like the storage. Even though you're sacrificing that middle seat person, you have an ample amount of space. All right, so there you have it, the Honda Civic Type R and the Hyundai Elantra N. Both of these are very fun to drive. Surprising to see how fun a Hyundai can be, just like the Honda Type R. It's been around a little bit longer, of course, than the Hyundai coming out in around 2022. I believe the Civic Type R came out in 2017. So it's had several years for the car world to get acquainted to it. We still have some time for that Hyundai there. But comment down below, which one would you take and why? Manual for manual, would you go with the Honda or the Hyundai? That's a tough one. I kind of like the Hyundai a little bit more. Even though the Civic Type R is more sporty looking on the outside, you have some more creature comforts in the Hyundai over the Civic. But that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Comment down below, let me know which one you would take and why. Give the video a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.